Cosmere can be a confusing place.
From allomancy to surge binding, there's a lot to look out for.
We're your hosts and escorts to the realms. I'm Griff.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the Silverlight Guide to the Cosmere.
All right. We are going to talk about what you can expect if you attend Dragonsteel 2023 to the best of our knowledge.
Yes.
Based off of our only time going, which was last year for the release of the Lost Metal.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about your hotel options. We're going to talk about the venue itself.
Yes.
With some caveats, things you should bring, things you should expect.
Yes.
We'll also mention, we'll kind of give a brief overview of, hey, if you're this kind of person, maybe you'll like this. So, and that'll be sprinkled in.
We could also potentially talk about surrounding food options.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then we'll also talk about our booth and we will brainstorm some ideas, or rather I will tell you the ideas that I've had and then we'll do the...
I should have listened to I know I said I would listen to the pod. I did not listen to the pod.
Which pod?
Our pod.
Oh.
I was going to listen to it for lines that we could turn into buttons.
Oh, that's things, okay. That's okay. I want to go as simple as possible, and I'm thinking, and this is not guaranteed.
Right.
What I'm thinking, keeping it simple.
Right.
We have just, and this is very early in conception.
Right.
What I want to do is postcards that are greetings from, and then Roshar.
Like Cell.
Right. But I just want to have three. Because
okay, so then we could do the big three, which is Roshar, Cell, and Scadrial.
Yes, and then a fourth, which would be Defiant. The planet. Detritus from...
Okay. Question.
Yes.
Do we want to raise it to 5 to do the 4 big...
No.
Okay.
And the reason...
So we don't want to do...
Because it's so early in conception...
We don't want to do Nalthus?
I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver.
Okay.
I'd rather underpromise and overdeliver.
Okay, that's fair. Or deliver.
So the idea here is that if you Google like 1950s greetings from New York postcard, it has the words New York big across the center, greetings from top left.
In the top left corner. Yeah.
And then the art on it is that the letters have different art. Like the letters are from one painting and then another painting is behind them. Right. So Nalthus in particular might be difficult because while we could just do rainbow colors for the lettering and then do kind of like a tropical city for the background, which could potentially happen.
Right.
We really only see... Yes.
Okay, question. Do we want to do Taldane because it would be easy because we have literal comic art of the location?
Potentially.
Okay.
Again,
because I feel like that one, I understand.
Yeah.
But I feel like that one would be easy because we literally already have the art of like one of the cities in Taldane there that we could just...
Alternatively, it would just be
sand dunes.
Sand, and then for the lettering, it would be nighttime sand, right?
We could. We could. So the third Aladdin movie.
Jesus.
I know. There's a point to this. There's a part where Genie says, so it's Aladdin's wedding. That's the whole point of the third Aladdin movie.
Okay.
Aladdin and Jasmine's wedding.
I assumed.
Yes. And Genie is, of course...
the officiant?
Well, yes, and doing Genie things.
Okay.
And at one point he says, this wedding is brought to you by sand. It's everywhere. Get used to it. And so I feel like we could have along the bottom.
We could have taglines on the back of the card.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
We could do that for Taldane.
Maybe we'll ask the question to the listener because I don't want to just spend the whole episode theorizing postcards.
Right. Yeah, we can.
But so that would be one thing, and then just keep it to that. But we could also do bookmarks.
Oh yeah.
And I have some ideas. Okay, imagine this: gold lettering.
Okay.
Warbreaker the musical.
Okay.
And then the background's rainbow.
I love it.
Okay, it's a good idea, right?
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Another one. Do you have a weapon? No, I can't read.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one for bookmark that I thought would be cool would be having, when you're looking at it one way or just at the top, we do a sort of our best guess at what a shade from Threnody would look like.
Okay.
And do green eyes and then flip it and it's red.
Red. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Also, I feel like we should acronym our podcast down to SGC.
Yeah.
In silver lettering.
Okay.
Not necessarily reflective silver. Like if we can get metallic silver, then fantastic. But if not, then like a light gray color.
I'll do you one better.
Okay.
2 different bookmarks idea. One of them, a Lethe women's script, the Silverlight Guide to the Cosmere.
Okay.
On a black background with silver lettering. Okay.
Yes.
The other one is SGC Best Cosmere Reading Order 2023.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Right.
But what I'm thinking is that the SGC thing in silver lettering should probably go on all of our product.
Oh, I see.
Just as a little logo thing.
Sure.
Because of course we don't have to have, to the as part of the logo, but just Silverlight Guide to the SGC in silver lettering, just so
that makes sense.
We have our mark.
Yeah. And then another idea on top of bookmarks would be buttons. Doing some of the same, making our own little buttons. And the idea here is that to be a vendor, you need to have all of the rights to sell whatever you're selling.
Okay.
And I'm fairly certain everything that we've mentioned so far would be
open
or
public domain.
Right.
Kind of.
Like ultimately what I'm going for is if I don't feel slimy selling it, we're good.
Right. Also, a good rule of thumb is, does it infringe into the market in which it comes from?
Right.
That's kind of so fair use is a squishy subject. It can be very subjective, very open to interpretation. But a good general rule of thumb is whether or not it replaces the market for the product itself.
Yeah.
Which we're not. We're not selling books. We're not trying to recreate. We're not trying to sell fan fiction of any of these worlds. So I feel like and as far as I'm aware, except for the boxes that we've been getting this year, there's not a whole lot of this kind of product out there for the other Cosmere things. So I don't feel like we're replacing the market for the things they've come out with so far.
Yeah.
So I feel okay selling it.
Yeah. And then some more stuff I'd like to do at our booth is if you come by and you show that you're following us or they follow us right then and there.
Right.
I'd like to get a little badge flare that says Silverlight Scholar that they can stick to their Dragonsteel badge.
Okay. Yeah.
And then potentially have other things that they can do to get other badges. Or not, to the badge flares.
Right.
But there's a lot that's...
Well, we'd have to partner with other people to do that, correct? Like to help with them getting other badge flares?
No, I mean like we give away different badge flares.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, what we could do...
Yeah.
We could base it on how long they've been following us. Mm-hmm. And so we could have Silverlight Scholar as a single badge flare. Okay. And then we could have a separate one, which is Silverlight Scholar tenure.
We only have 44 followers, Griff, on Spotify.
I know. But at least one of them is probably going to be there.
Probably.
So we could have tenure as like, we could just maybe even just print 10 of them. But like if you've been following us since like maybe the first month that we started sending out, well, you can get a 10-year badge.
Yeah.
Which I feel would be kind of a
It depends on
clever step up.
Ultimately, the idea here on the behind the scenes part of this is that we should purchase enough items, make and purchase that we are confident that we can gain back what we've lost.
Right.
So I'm going to steer us away from badge flare ideas because we could go wild with it, such as having rainbow and then saying biochromatic.
I think we should just stick with the badge flare.
We could.
I feel we should just have the regular Silverlight Scholar, which is just if you are following us, basically, or if you follow us right there, like if you, and then we have like 10 of the 10-year ones, for the off chance that we get a surprisingly large amount, or 25% of our reader base,
right. It's like we were already following you. Oh, here you go.
Yeah. So
one last one that I think would help get people to our booth is producer. And if they buy whatever we're selling, then they get a producer badge flare.
Yeah.
But we want to make it stand out so people are like, where did you get that?
Okay. Do we want it to be producer?
I mean,
or do we want it to be professor?
I mean, I would argue for producer, given that money.
That's fair.
Backer? No, that's weird. Maybe boxer. Box.
Okay, so
spherical.
I'm putting this idea out here just because of my brain connecting dots.
All right.
But I know that sometimes colleges will give away honorary degrees to very large or very consistent donors.
Oh, I see.
So perhaps we could do an honorary Silverlight degree.
There we go.
For that. Honorary bachelors in the Cosmere.
Oh, geez. Oh, geez. We'll see.
As I said,
say that again.
I'm not saying, or it was just an idea to throw out. I'm not saying we have to do it.
Yeah.
It's just my brain connects dots. So
we'll need to text about this over the next week.
Yeah. But I'm sure we can come to a conclusion on something.
Yeah. Okay. And then some other stuff I'd like to do at our booth.
Yes.
Is ideally in our little 10 by 10 space.
Right.
We will have, we're going to buy into the power option that they have. So that we get power.
Oh, okay.
And then I would like to invite people to record. Like we'll have some questions.
Oh, okay. So like a little mini interview type thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That would work.
How are you finding the con? What's your favorite book? So
and then we could do a compilation of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And that I think was it for my, we'll get a poster printed with the Silverlight Guide to the Cosmere and then a smaller one that has various books for obvious reasons. And we'll get the QR codes.
Right. Yeah. Do we want to do a mini trivia thing? I don't know what we would do for it.
Okay.
But it's an easy thing that we can.
If they get all that, so we could have like 10 questions.
Right.
And if they get all 10 correct, and we can and so we can record that and then like take the funniest answers. Not that we would put a podcast together that is just people answering 10 questions
right. No. I mean, we'd pull the funnier answers. We wouldn't just
and then we can get we can give them like whatever we're selling we can give them one for free,
probably like a button or something.
Depends on what we do.
Silverlight Guide graduate.
Yeah, that
Because it'd be kind of like a
badge
quiz,
flare.
kind of like a test.
Yeah. Silverlight Guide donor for if they buy something.
Yeah.
Patron. Silverlight patron.
Yeah, Silverlight patron.
Silverlight graduate. Silverlight scholar. For listening.
Right.
For following.
For following,
And then
yes.
tenure. Depending on what can fit on the badge flare. Anyways.
Right.
This is all so that we can come back to this episode and get our ideas, and because we're going to forget them. Anyways, okay.
Yeah, no.
So most people are here though because they want to know. I like to know what happens before I go into something.
Yes,
right?
Honestly, that is something that has been a big stress of cons for me. Is that there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yep.
And so knowing what you're going to encounter before you get there can be a great comfort.
I agree. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up the tabletop.events page.
Okay.
And we're just going to kind of walk through and hit all the areas, at least briefly.
Do we want to talk about the hotels and such around the con first?
Yes. So that's part of...
Okay.
I'm going to go off of there. All right. So they list 3 hotels that they are partnered with. So there is a small discount because they've got the block of rooms.
Right.
For most of these, you do need to book before November 1st.
Okay.
There is, I think, at least a 2-night minimum.
Okay. That makes sense.
And so where we stayed last time was the Holiday Inn Express.
Right.
And our experience was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were good rooms.
For any of these, I would suggest if you are banking on a really good breakfast, get there early.
Yes.
Because it's right next to the convention. It's not necessarily that Dragonsteel is the only convention happening.
No. There was 2 or 3 when we were
There's
there.
also not that business people would be staying at the hotels like in large numbers except for conventions, but there's also it's downtown.
Right.
So you don't know.
So there's
a lot.
Yeah. People could be staying there for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah. So if you stay at the Holiday Inn Express, the thing that we found was very useful to know is that at the south side of the entrance to the Salt Palace, which is where the convention is held, there are a set of doors that are open, and we would have saved a lot of time walking in the cold had we known that those doors were open. So that is important to know.
That is important to know. It's basically right across the street. It's a set of doors that are open. It will cut down your walking time outside immensely. And it is shockingly cold there.
It is. It is November in Salt Lake. It is going to be cold. Even if it feels okay in the sun, bring a jacket.
Bring layers. Bring layers.
Also, potentially, if you find yourself frustrated with having to lug a jacket around, bring a backpack.
Yes.
Yep. Just bring a backpack.
Plus, you can store any loot you get.
Yep. That's what I did last time. It's very helpful. Now, there is a 4th hotel that they don't have on here, so it's not under the Dragonsteel. There's no discount.
Okay.
But it is the hotel that they opened last October, and it is part of the building that Salt Palace is in.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which some people I've seen had a good time with because when they did some book hauls, they didn't have to walk very far.
Right. They just basically went right up to their room.
And in fact, the doors that we were talking about go right by the entrance to that hotel that's inside that lobby.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. So just so you know, the other 2 are really close nearby. One of them, if I remember correctly, is literally just around the same block. Like you just walk down and then you just walk west and then south from the north entrance of Salt Palace. Don't take me at my word. I think it doesn't really matter. But the Holiday Inn Express was the cheapest, but Radisson Hotel, Salt Lake City downtown, and on Dragonsteel's website, the con website, says that they are going to get into the spirit of the convention.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what they did last year. Maybe you can find somebody talking about it.
Right. I don't know what they did either, but
and for them you need to book by November 3rd. So
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the hotels and our experience with the one.
Yes.
Which I expect we'll probably be staying in the same one again.
The free breakfast was nice, not going to lie. I mean, it was basic fare, but
It was. There was fruit, and I think technically the biscuits were vegan-ish enough for me.
Enough, right.
Right.
I mean, and then they had like pancakes on, I think they switched the pastry, like the carb option each day. Because I know they had pancakes one day, and then one day it was like biscuits or something like that. And they switched the meats up as well. But I mean, they were all good breakfasts.
Yeah.
And they had eggs. Eggs was a pretty good staple of all of them. So
moving from there to food, there was a Denny's we tried to go to, but the lot there, they were closed for cleaning. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was
they were
dumb. So
they'll probably be open next year. I would assume.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, maybe we won't see because there are other good options.
True. There was a McDonald's nearby.
There was, but we typically went late at night, and so you could only drive through.
Yes.
So we walked to the Denny's and then had to walk back to the hotel to grab the car.
Yes. Because.
Yeah.
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 However, there was was it the Blue Plate?
Blue Moon?
Was it Blue Moon?
I think it was Blue Moon, which was east of the convention. If you went out the north and then 2 blocks over,
yes,
it was the first floor. It was in the first floor of a skyscraper, and it had a variety of foods.
Yes,
good priced, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good priced.
It was light. It was really nice for lunch.
Yes, yeah, it was. It was nice light fare.
Yeah.
The place itself is actually also really nice to sit in. Like it was a nice place.
It was. There were food options inside the convention, and it was snackage.
Yeah.
And then I think there were a couple of places that were actual food, but we didn't partake in that.
No,
so
we didn't.
Can't speak to that.
And in my experience, food options in the convention itself tend to be very exorbitantly priced.
Right.
So that is probably one of the things I would recommend least.
I agree.
And then we found a place.
Is Nacho Daddy.
Yeah, Nacho Daddy.
Which was delicious.
It was phenomenal.
They had vegan nachos.
Yeah, they had vegan nachos. I mean, I didn't eat the vegan nachos, obviously.
I did, though,
but
and they were good.
Did. And the non-vegan nachos were fantastic as well.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't that crowded. We did see some other attendees, but it really wasn't that crowded.
It really was not that crowded. I was very happy with the fact that it was steady. It obviously had enough customers to support itself, but it was not wildly crowded. Like we walked in, we immediately got a table.
Sports bar vibes.
Yeah, it was sports bar vibes, but the nachos themselves were great. And for those who might care, it's a paperless menu.
Yeah.
There's QR code for your phone.
And cybersecurity alert, always be wary of where QR codes are taking you. Only scan it if you know where it goes.
Yes.
Which is kind of a catch-22. But I'm hoping if some of our friends of the pod, Stormlight Memes, Generic
Nathaniel,
Entertainment, if they go to the con, we might entice them to eat there with us. And
absolutely.
And then my friend Alex wants to go along.
Yes. So we could have him join us as well.
Yeah. You still moving? I mean,
that is still the plan. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. I think if Alex goes, we might drive from here.
Okay. So I'll have to fly in myself.
Yeah. Especially if we actually do have postcards and stuff and we purchase them in bulk.
Right.
That would be a pain to try to get. Anyways. Yeah. But nothing's set in stone.
Right.
Except that which is inscribed in stone.
Or that which is inscribed in metal in the case of Scadrial.
That's true. Don't trust anything not in metal. All right. Where we go from here? Okay. So the day of.
At least the first day, was a little hectic.
So we are going to stay positive here.
Yes.
If you want our more immediate thoughts, we did do an episode about Dragonsteel.
Yes, we did.
2022. We gave our feedback, which literally nobody asked for.
Right.
And but we did.
It was a kind of our honest thoughts, our immediate.
And quickly, out of 10, what would you give Dragonsteel Con 2022 out of the conventions you've gone to?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
Yeah. There were a few things I think they could have done better, but for the most part, I think they handled everything very well. The panels were well moderated and, they kept everybody in schedule.
Yeah.
The line for the badge was fast moving, even if it was long. Mm-hmm. And they obviously had everything very well taped out for where the lines were supposed to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was very happy.
Yeah, I think I'd give them an 8.5 from the conventions that I've gone to, which is not that many. Boosted a bit by the fact that every booth was something that I felt most Sanderson fans would be interested in.
Yes.
Right? Which I say specifically because this year they've opened applications for anybody to apply and then, get through the process.
Right.
Which has already led to a massively increased roster of exhibitors, including yours truly, which shows you how low the bar is.
Hey. Let's give ourselves some credit here.
We have 44 followers on Spotify.
We do, exactly. We are not completely unknown.
That's true. Not completely.
Plus, we have partnered with 2 very famous people.
Moderately famous.
I mean, Stormlight Memes has multiple hundreds of thousands of followers. Or at least tens of thousands. I'm not entirely sure on theirs, but still, regardless, there's a lot of followers.
Yeah, I think it was 17,000.
So,
it doesn't matter.
It's still in the thousands.
Right.
So
it was just a joke.
Right.
I'm confident in our abilities to do our thing.
I agree.
Okay. But and I am excited looking through the exhibitor list because we have artists, we have a lot of dice centered exhibitors,
which should be fun.
Yeah. A lot of authors, of course.
Right. Yeah, that is a pretty big staple because they are parts of the panel, and then of course they usually have a booth with their product at it, which I'm happy about because it usually means you can get signed copies and things like that.
Exactly. So day of, go listen for our full thoughts and opinions. But I think maybe we'll go at it from this is how you should approach it.
Right.
So they're going to put the door opening at a certain time. And that time for VIP holders, which the VIP badge is currently $270, but it does come with what's included is the Defiant hardcover signed.
Right.
You get that and the swag that they are now selling that with.
Right.
Okay. So that's $75 by itself. It also comes with the VIP hoodie plus pin pack, which was not able to be purchased by itself, which I would imagine is between $60 and $80.
Right.
And then it also comes with the convention t-shirt swag bundle, VIP exclusive, which is also $50, $60.
Right.
So you're getting a bunch of swag. And then what else are you getting? You're getting access to a break room-ish kind of thing, a lounge.
Right, yes.
Lounge. That's exclusive for VIP. You are also getting entrance into the exhibit hall 1 hour before the others.
Right.
Just on the Monday. On the Tuesday, everybody gets in at the same time.
Right.
And then you also get priority seating, not reserved, but priority at the release event.
Right.
Yes. So they will have you line up in a specific area if you're VIP, and then you'll go sit. You can't save seats, but you can go sit, and it's a premium upfront Right. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck there.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
You also
like for somebody like me, it's probably a little out of my price range,
Sure.
especially because I'm still going to have to factor in travel and things like that. So,
Yeah. And, yeah. I refunded mine so that we would pay for the booth.
right. What kind of badge do we get with the
A
booth?
general.
Okay, just a general admissions badge. I mean, I didn't think it would be VIP, but I wasn't sure if there was like a vendor badge or something.
It might say that on there. I can't remember.
Okay, fair.
So the general badge right now is $55, but only if you use the code that they tell you to. It's on the front page. It's not like it's a
hidden thing.
It's not a hidden thing. If you use the code, come on now. Oh, claim the stars.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Claim the stars is $55. Both VIP and general get one admission into the drawing for who gets to get their book signed with Brandon, and we will talk about that later.
Right.
So they are going to say what time the exhibit hall opens.
Yes.
The VIP get their an extra hour, and then general gets in.
Now, I know that we got there a little before the door. Well, I would recommend for anybody going, we got there, about 7-ish?
I think 7 or 8.
And it was already lined up pretty full.
Yeah.
So if you want to get there, if you don't want to get there like ridiculously early, but you still want a good place in line, I'd probably recommend getting there around 6-ish.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be optimal.
There will probably be fewer people at this one than last year. However,
Yes, this is true because Cytonic is not the Cytonics. Is that it?
Cytonic.
Yeah. Okay. Cytonic. Yeah. The Cytonic series is not as popular as his Cosmere.
Right.
So
ultimately, there are 3 things that you should consider for when you want to get in line. The first is, how much do you care about the number in your signed book if you purchase a signed book? Because the person who wanted number 1, rumor was they got there at 3 a.m. and sat outside the door,
good God.
and he got it.
I mean, good for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not something I particularly care about. I think I
Right.
got 425.
Something like that.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't feel the number matters much. Like you. I mean, but if it matters to you, it matters to you. Like
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Another thing that you should consider is if you get VIP, right? Obviously, you want to access the exhibit hall 1 hour early. You get access to the authors you want to talk to.
Right.
Some artists only have one of a painting.
Question.
Yes.
Since we're going to have a booth, we're going to have access to the vendor hall that 1 hour early.
I am going to assume that we're going to want to be in our booth at least for.
Well, I'm saying that we'll be
Right.
given access to the vendor hall.
Yes, we will be given access to the vendor hall super early because we need to set up.
Yeah, we need to set up our booth. So
Yep.
that just occurred to me. That's not going to matter to our listeners.
No, but they can stop by and say hi.
This is true. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
please.
Come by our booth. We are going to have buttons. We are going to have other product.
Under promise and over deliver. We're going to have something likely that you can purchase from us.
Yes.
And then some badge flair for free.
Right.
And then you can record with us and be featured in one of our podcast episodes.
Yes.
So that is another thing. So if you're VIP, they do have a VIP specific line, which did go pretty fast.
Yes.
So
I mean, even the general one went really fast though. Like I was really pleased with the way they handled the badge distribution because I think they did a really, really good job for the amount of people there.
yeah, I will say with the amount of people that have bought VIP tickets, it may end up feeling like it's not very VIP, right? If everybody's VIP, nobody is.
Right. Yeah. Fair.
So consider that
Do they have a limited amount of VIP badges?
last year they put the number up This year they did not.
Okay.
They did cap each of so when you purchase the VIP,
Right.
it prompts you to select your size for your shirts and hoodies.
Right.
And they did cap each size at 1,000.
Okay. So I guess 4,000 would be potentially the limit.
Well, potentially. They only have 3,000 signed books.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So that would be the limit for that. I mean, ultimately, I don't know. People speculated that it would be sold out super fast because last year it was sold out in 27 minutes, and then they re-released VIP later on. Who knows?
Right.
I don't
think this one is going to sell out because again, Cytonic is just not as popular a series. Not saying that's no statement on its quality. It's just fact. It is not as popular.
Right. And then the third.
Wish.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was more musing out loud. I was saying, I kind of wish, and I don't know if they even had it going on, that I had attended Dragonsteel during the release of some of the Steelheart books.
Oh, they didn't have it going on. The first one was 2021.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, no.
For the release of Cytonic.
I kind of would love to see him release more in the Steelheart universe and then have a con centered around it, because I thought that was a really neat concept.
In your dreams, somewhere, it floats.
Yes. You never read the Steelheart series, did you?
Not yet.
Okay.
The third thing that our listeners should consider when deciding what time they want to show up is that last year, for some of the panels, they started at 9:00.
Oh, yes.
Right.
You want to be potentially lined up.
Very, very early. Not super early.
Like as early as you can get there.
Yeah.
Potentially.
If you see that there's a panel and you really want to go to that panel and it's at 9:00 or 10:00 even, you definitely want to be earlier in the line, because the VIP people most likely will just go to the exhibit hall, but everybody else has nothing to do for an hour after they get their badge.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
when we got to the first panel hall, it was very crowded.
It was, and it was the largest one, and I think there were 2 happening at the same time. And then we sat for the first and the second panel, and then they came in and they said, "Hey, people have been waiting for room, so if you don't really want to watch the next one."
Although, to be fair, I don't think it was really crowded enough that they, I feel like they could have fit more people without having anybody leave.
Well, but do you remember walking out in the hall?
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
Crowded?
I get that. Yeah, I just feel like they should have. That is probably where one of my points is taken off. I feel like they should have tried to fill the panels to capacity.
Yeah, but go listen to our critique of
Dragonsteel
2022.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the main things you should consider, because after that initial morning, everything is pretty chill.
Yes.
It's very easy in and out.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, I think one of the things that we did well, and I would recommend everybody does, is schedule.
Yep.
Schedule your stuff, not just the panels you're going to go see. Schedule your meals, things like that. It is very easy to get lost or caught up in the energy and forget to eat, forget to drink, et cetera, et cetera. Schedule that stuff.
Yes.
Have it down. If you just need it written down, if you need an alarm, whatever, make sure you do it.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, spreadsheet, because this is all great, but taking care of yourself is priority.
Yep. Something our listeners should be aware of is that they do ticketed events or ticketed panels.
Oh, yes.
And so last time they did author meet and greets that were 8 people only. And then for the first half hour, and then the second half hour, they opened it up to more people.
Yes.
So those go really fast. And then some gaming groups did ticketed stuff. They did a Stormlight Call to Adventure tournament that was ticketed. Magic the Gathering tournament with Sanderson himself was ticketed. And you had to buy in.
Fair.
Because they did a draft.
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
They did a crochet that was ticketed. And so be on the lookout. So once you get your badge, don't go fall off the grid and then expect to get into the events you want.
Right. No. Absolutely. Sign up, do all your research, know what you need.
I expect that Sanderson will announce in his weekly update when those go live. If not, probably posted to social media. Keep a lookout for that, because that could influence when you want to show up on that first day. But also give yourself some time for the vendor hall. At the beginning, it's going to feel rushed and crazy, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's so many people surrounding Dan Wells and Brian McClellan. How am I ever going to get to talk to them? The morning of the next day,
very chill.
It's going to be super chill.
Yeah. It gets very chill. Like, I know that when we were there the first day, it was a whirlwind, but by the second day, we were able to go up. We were able to ask some questions of some of those authors, check out their books, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it does definitely calm down.
It was still kind of crowded.
A little bit.
And lines could definitely start forming out of nowhere.
Yes.
So that's not to say that it's like a shopping mall after it's gone defunct. It's still busy, but it's less manic.
Yes.
In the afternoon and the next day, especially when there are larger events going on. At the same time, if you plan, 11 a.m., I'm going to go talk to Brian McClellan. If Brian McClellan has a panel at 11 a.m. that you didn't look at,
right,
then you're going to be out of luck, right? So, not that you're going to miss your opportunity to talk to whichever author, just be aware that does happen.
Yes.
Some booths will be empty at various times because we're not going to stay at our booth the whole time.
No, obviously we have stuff to do.
Right. We'll do shifts we'll
even
do lunch.
I mean, like, we'll do shifts, but like probably at lunch, we'll exit the booth.
So,
or we'll go grab, we'll take some time to grab some food and then come back
and then
whatever.
we'll do a podcast recording in the little room that they set up for anybody to use. That you can book. That's where we did our little readings with Mary Robinette Kwan.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So we'll have that on the schedule that you can come to.
Yeah.
So booths aren't filled the entire time. If you want to purchase something from the Dragonsteel booth, if it's set up the same way, which any of this is subject to change.
Right.
If it's set up the same way, what you're going to want to do is go into the area where they have the items. You're going to grab the items you want, and then you're going to get into line to pay.
Yes.
We got into line.
Yes, we got into line first, and then we
thinking it was just to get into the area.
Right.
And then halfway through, I think Griff was like, oh, I got to use the restroom. And then I heard some people talking, and I was like, these people have the items in their hands. And then you came back and was like, I'm going to grab the blah, blah, blah. And then by the time, it was all fine, but that was something I did not know.
Yeah, no, nor did I. Like, it did make it seem like it was to get in, but no, it was to pay. So, which I think is actually a good way to do it, because it seemed to keep things. It kept the shopping area clear.
Yep.
And B, everybody was, and I think the fact that people had the product that they wanted already meant that they were much more. Like, they were calmer in the line than they would have been otherwise. So I think that was honestly a really good way to do it.
Yeah. Let's see. What else was there? think some particular exhibitors to look out for at least that I'm looking out for, that I'm excited to see ourselves.
Of course.
So there's that. I'm excited to meet some of the other people that do content creation.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And honestly, I mean, maybe we can pair up with a couple of them and record something. Like I'm always down for spontaneous opportunities.
Sure. There's the Cosmere Sandersonian Institute for Cosmere Studies, Sanderson Collectors Guild. So
definitely some options.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Oh, something completely unrelated to the podcast.
Okay. Is there a spider?
No.
Oh.
Okay. So.
Yeah, no spider. All right. That's fine. Okay. And then we got some kind of more conventional shops, the Shire Post Mint and Badali Jewelry and Forged Foam will have their collection of Sanderson stuff.
Yes, they had swords and such.
They also had a sparring area. So
They did, and I never stuck around long enough to see exactly what that entailed.
But young teenage boys really got into it. So
Yeah.
make sure you pack your deodorant.
Yeah. Also, on the snack front, depending on dietary concerns and things like that, peanut butter crackers, fantastic. Good protein, fill you up. As I said, like unless you're allergic to peanuts.
Sure. You're telling our listeners to bring peanut butter crackers?
Yes, for themselves.
Yeah,
like to eat there because like it's filling, it's easy to carry around. And just bottled water, like I mean, Powerade and Gatorade are fine, I suppose, but I don't think they're really needed.
No.
For those who have disabilities, there is a lot of walking. There is also, actually, I don't know. Did they have near the stairs? Were there elevators?
There were.
Okay.
There were elevators located at various.
And I know that escalators were a big part of it as well. So they do tend to be pretty disability friendly or access. They have accessibility options. I'm not going to always say that they were the friendliest or the best, but they are there.
Right.
So
yeah. Let's see. There's a lot of authors. There's a lot.
there was only like what 6 or 7 last time. Last convention.
No, there were more than that. But,
Okay.
But there's even more now.
Fair.
There's also a lot of artists that sell their art.
Yeah, of course.
Some Etsy people.
Did you know that they sell demon packs on Etsy?
I don't want to know what that is.
No, like legitimately magic spells, quote unquote, demon packs.
And now I know what it is.
Yes.
And I still wish I didn't.
That is something they sell on Etsy.
One thing you want to look out for if you're a collector of things, the Lightweaver Foundation should have an ornament that is
yes,
unique. And now you'll be able to purchase it after the fact. But last time they actually ran out of that specific color and they had to make it a different color.
Yes.
But it was directly related to the book that came out. So
that is something that might be worth picking up because they are going to have a different ornament every year. So for me, I like collecting those kinds of ornaments. So
same. Yeah, and then what else is there? There will likely be a gaming area where people will be hanging out.
Yes.
Doing games.
Like Magic the Gathering, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So also for those interested, and this may or may not be pertinent, I know that last year a lot of the clothing options were somewhat oriented towards the book releasing because they had like the hoodie, they had the beanie with the
Harmonium? No,
the slave
Oh.
scar tattoos.
How does that relate to the Lost Metal?
Oh, it doesn't. I for some reason thought that a Roshar book released
Nope.
last year.
They did have one that had one of the Mistborn
Symbols.
At least one of them. They may have more.
They may have more Cytonic related
Yeah.
clothing options there. Maybe. So might be worth keeping in mind that if you're looking for something from a specific book series, may not be at that convention, but there's no way to really tell until we go.
It's true. And then at the end of the second day, Sanderson will do it'll be the release event party, but the event from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that is open to the public.
Yes.
And you stand in a really long line with all these other convention attendees, and then you listen to Sanderson talk. And what he'll likely talk about is he'll give a speech that will be praising everybody who works for him and all of us and where fantasy is going and his thing, or maybe this time he'll talk more about deeper things because of the Wired article. And
well, I know that also like last year he talked about Roshar 5.
Well, yes. So
more than he did Lost Metal.
Yeah.
which I feel like this is probably going to be something similar because he does tend to hyperfixate on whatever he is working on at the moment. Completely understandable.
Yeah.
But since the Cytonic books are already out, that is probably not what he is going to focus on.
Yeah. So he'll do spoilers for Stormlight 5. He'll probably read some chapters.
Right.
So be prepared. And unless he's done, even if he's done writing them by then, which he could not be, it's probably going to be Stormlight 5. And then, so then if you've bought a badge, you get your name put into a random chance to meet Sanderson.
Right.
And last time they chose 300 people, and each of those 300 could bring one extra person. So 600 people, 3,000 attendees at least. You'll be able to, I think it's 3 books each, 3 items each that he'll sign for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then you talk to him for a minute and then And so that is to limit how much time he spends signing.
Right. That's a lot. I mean, even if all 300 bring 3.
Right.
And then their companion also brings 3. Mm-hmm. That's 1,800 items that he'll have to sign.
Yes.
So
it's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, the con will close and you'll go back to your hotel and then check out the next day.
Yes.
Yep.
That's pretty straightforward.
It is. But be prepared to stand in the line for a really long time or get bad spot.
Oh, something specific to this con that is important to be aware of. Last con, and I'm sure they'll do something similar with this con, they had a fake currency that they would hand out that were little cardboard pieces.
Yeah.
That you could use to get actual product. You could use to get real things at the con. I'm sure they'll have another one with Cytonic for those who don't necessarily have a lot of spending money. This is a way to get some souvenirs for yourself so that you might be able to enjoy memories of the con, even if you weren't able to bring a lot of money with you.
Yep.
So
that's true. Another vendor I'm looking forward to is Brotherwise Games because they should have fully realized their Kickstarter near the end of August. And so they should have Stormlight miniatures, which, depending on how I feel at that time, I'll get even more, even though I'm getting all of them. Army building packs. Mm-hmm. If you need more, you need more. Mm-hmm. And hopefully they'll have the beta rules for the Stormlight TTRPG.
Yes, hopefully. That would be fun to not only get our hands on, but also be able to potentially play there.
Right. It would be.
If they have a one-shot little adventure within it, I think that would be fun.
It would be. Yeah, and that's... I
think that's Dragonsteel Con.
I think so. That's what you should expect. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So until next time, don't panic, World Hoppers.
Life before death, strength before weakness, and journey before driving to Salt Lake City.
Which is a journey.
Dang it.
So driving to Salt Lake City before destination.
Yeah, that makes sense. using your GPS before destination.
There you go.
Oops.
The music you hear is Part 3, The Spirit, from Zavadilla's The Music of Elantris, produced by B-Roll Records. Available now on Apple Music, Spotify, and most music providers.
If you like what you hear and you want others to hear it as well, please leave a rate and review. It really helps us get more listeners.